which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Where are you, sir?
Susan.
Here.
David.
Yeah.
Debbie.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
Chris.
Yeah.
Shelby, yes. Kim.
Yes.
Agenda approval. Any deletions or modifications?
Were you gonna ask Victor?
John?
Yes. I want to let you go first.
That's the only thing.
Only thing, okay. I'd like to add our attorney Vic to B2 after the road commission. That's all I have. Anybody else have anything?
B2?
Yeah, instead of, yeah, got A, B, and then instead of B2. Nobody else?
Nope.
Okay, so I make a motion to accept the agenda with the change.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on. Public comment. So we're open to public comment at 6:32. Anybody? Go ahead.
Anybody?
I just have a simple question. I sent an email to Kim asking where the money's coming from for this township hall. And her response, I stopped in the office, was, I had a front row seat last meeting, so I should know where it is, and all the information's on the website. Well, I watched the meeting last night, and there was never a definitive answer of where this money's coming from, other than we've got to use the ARPA money. And then the engineer said, well, we got to spend this money, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll do what we've done historically. Well, historically is if you don't have the money, you put a tax, like the Headley override you already tried to ram through on us, on the ballot. So before you spend one dime on this, we have the right to know exactly where the money's coming from. Because if you're gonna need a tax increase, we have the right to put it on the ballot. And you're trying to get around that by saying, we don't intend on asking for more money. So you're required to put together a proposal with the expenses to show where the money's coming from. You've got your Woodhill group. I asked Dave, he said he's not an accountant. So today, somebody needs to get it out where the money's coming from. It's gotta be in writing. If it's not in writing, this is gonna be stopped. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else? Nobody else? Go ahead.
Give a crack at it.
Do you have any updates about the Mitchell storage thing behind my house? And I'd like to thank Susan for getting back with me. She's an honest person. And I would like to let you know that there are a lot of people what's going on behind my house. Mr. Spang from the assessor's office in Washoe County. Mr. Hodges contacted Mr. Shelby. Reggie Miller's office, Finley Arnett's, talked to Mr. Shelby. A lot of people are got a really keen eye on this stuff now, so hopefully we're doing everything correctly. And about those apartments that you guys were trying to push through, it should have been voted on, just like this new township should be voted on, because if you don't have the money for this stuff, why do it? And just like the apartments, this is a country little community. Why do you need apartments out in front of everybody? That's all I got to say.
Anybody else? Go on, Pete.
I just told the young lady sitting here beside me I wasn't gonna say anything tonight. I guess I can't help myself. You guys need to take a really good look at the videos that man videos. Take a really good look at yourself and how you really act. Because last meeting was a joke. Total joke. Out of hand. You wasted money on the professionals. You kept them here because you wanted them to speak first. That's money out of our pockets, the residents' pockets. Money out of the township that you could spend somewhere else. It was a joke.
Okay, anybody else? I don't see anybody else, so I close public comment. It's 6:35. Any board response at all?
I have a board response. I'm not voting for any of this until we find out where that money's coming from for this township hall. Because there's no grants. I've already checked. So don't tell me there's grants out there for township halls. Don't lie to the residents.
Okay, I don't see any more. Moving on, approved Board of Trustees draft minutes from February 2024.
So I would make a motion to approve the draft meeting minutes from February 20th, 2024.
Second.
I have a discrepancy on that.
What do you got, Debbie?
In the video, it stated, Kim stated that she was going to get a resolution for the $249,000 to be voted on this meeting. It was never passed at last meeting. You were supposed to put a proposal together and bring it back. I want those meeting minutes
It
corrected.
says that in the minutes?
Yep.
What number is that, Deborah?
You're not.
Yeah. What number are you looking at, Deborah?
No, I have to go through it again, Kim, you know where you put it. Don't sit here and laugh at me.
Nobody's laughing, I mean, if you found it.
Alright, stop. This is not board
Shut up.
Oh, here.
Wait,
No,
hey,
excuse me.
stop.
Tell her
No,
to shut
no,
You
you're not running the meeting.
do not
You're not
get
running the
talked
meeting.
You're not.
If you're not gonna behave, you're gonna leave.
Then make her go first.
No, you're not running this meeting. All
Okay, so.
right, go ahead.
Number 12 says, motion by Ganzi, second by Hall to approve Fleece and Vanderbilt Professional Design Services, $248,000 for the Township Hall expansion and new township storage and public works building. So it wasn't put in the minutes about the resolution, but that will, it's going to be addressed later.
Then you need to get that corrected.
Well, no,
Yes,
that wasn't part
because
of the
that
motion
wasn't,
that was
that
made
was,
at
that
the meeting.
249,000 has not been approved. You said you were gonna put it in a resolution.
Yeah, so it isn't, we haven't done.
Doesn't matter whether it's ARPA money or not.
Look at number 14.
Pete, please.
Is it 14?
Yes.
Thanks, Pete.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
thanks, Pete.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so
Okay,
that
there
was
you go.
authorizing me to prepare it. So I didn't for a reason, and it will be addressed later in this meeting.
Okay. Moving on.
So did we get, I need a
said-
second for the
You-
minutes?
Yeah, you second, yeah.
Okay.
And I said all in favor, and everybody said nothing.
Aye.
There you go. Washtenaw County Road Commission. Trevor, you're up.
Trevor Fiesel with the Road Commission. This is Ken Harris, Superintendent of Maintenance. First, I want to thank you, Brian, for your support last year, working with me to put this list together of the roads. And see if anybody had any questions on any of this. You've all had a chance to look over the agreement that was sent to you. If you have any questions or,
I think it's 100% dead on.
okay, appreciate that.
When do you think might be a start date for some of these projects, do you think? A guesstimate?
I'd say early April.
Early April?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of these are just stone halls, so now we get in line with everybody else in the stone halls. Being as close as we are, we may be able to run a dual stone hall, so run stone hall up to the north and run a smaller stone hall down here and still get our same quantities that we require to have. So that's what we're working with the vendors once we get more jobs lined up.
Because you got that big pile sitting up down the street down there?
That's for chip seal stone.
Oh, that is?
Yeah.
What are you gonna chip stone? Where at for that?
We stockpile that, that's probably a couple of years worth of use in there.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
But we that's one of our outside pits that we store it at.
Yeah,
So
right.
each pit, we try to get a pile of stone out there. So it gives us options to choose where we want to go and where we want to chip seal.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I thought it was road gravel, so I didn't, so I had to ask. Okay, so the drainage, you'll probably maybe start drainage first possibly, is that what your plan is?
Yeah, we could run drainage with the stone halls too. It
Okay.
depends, what we have for resources with our heavy equipment crew.
Yeah, and we'll get updates and we can post them then. And
Yeah.
let everybody know, that's
We can
great,
do that.
yeah. But gee, I tell you, I can't thank you enough. We've really gotten a lot of work done
Yeah.
here,
Well, Augusta Township does a good job investing in the local roads. They really do.
yeah.
The board does.
I'm just curious, is Judd Road gonna maybe be addressed at some point? Not this year, but I mean soon.
What part of Judd Road are you?
Well, from Button to, so
Tuttle
Tuttle
Hill,
Hill,
yeah.
Tuttle Hill for sure, and maybe all the way to Whitaker.
I think there is.
You got Tuttle
It
Hill
seemed like it
Road,
was
Judd
getting
Road,
kind
and
of bad,
Talladega
but then you
Road.
guys
Yeah.
came and graded it, and it's actually pretty good now. I mean, it's better because you just came through, but
Yeah.
it seems like it's breaking down.
Yeah.
When you did it years ago, when you did.
Yeah, it looks like that was done in 2013 and it had 6 inches of limestone put on it.
Yeah,
So it's getting to the end of its
okay.
life now.
So it's
And there is
breaking-
a culvert on that road that needs to be replaced too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little narrow thing.
There's a, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a,
and it's got a weight restriction.
it's like a one lane.
Yeah, I think it's a
lane
10-ton
that
weight
goes through.
restriction, so limits
Yeah.
us on, we can't take any of our big gravel trains over those
Okay.
types of restrictions, so.
Right.
Once we get some of those bigger culverts replaced, we can continue with routine
Okay.
maintenance
So
on
you
that.
widen that when you work on the road next, or?
Oh, that
one
would be a township, that would probably have to be a,
We would take care of
shared
that,
project.
that
Yep.
upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Like you widen it so we can get some modern day cars down the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
playing chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, it's, at least we're getting these roads done.
yeah, but if we have.
Don't
any-
do that.
If we have any savings from some of the projects on there,
Yeah,
I mean, Judd Road would be a good one to go to, at least try to get some drainage and try to
Right.
open up some mechanics out there.
right.
Yeah.
Pete had a question, I'm gonna let him ask it. Go on, Pete.
I'm looking at your breakdown here, Basie Road, Button Road to Tuttle Hill Road, Judd Road to Talladega Road, Tuttle Hill Road, Talladega Road to Willow. You're using about the same amount of tonnage, and the prices are all over the place. Is there a reason for that? Like for Basie Road, there's 24 tons,
It's probably the length of the road.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, the length, the width, and also some of the drainage and forestry
Yep.
differ on each project.
Yeah, one has, the forestry's probably longer, there's probably more time and, with the forestries.
So did the price of limestone go up? Now that you guys buy bulk?
barely touched
Well, actually, our limestone prices, we
Yeah,
carry their
because the
prices
light's
over
not
from last
showing
year.
up.
So we're able to extend our
He's
prices.
got it
from
pushed
last
away
year.
from him, but
Thank
he
you.
touched the
Yep.
mic.
Anything else you got? Anybody have any questions?
I got a question. On Judd Road in between Tuttle Hill and Whitaker, weren't you guys gonna finish that up, the ditches and the trees, forestry on it?
We did the canopy on that, between Tuttle Hill and Whitaker, you're talking, where we put the new limestone on it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's completed. With what we're gonna do on that.
Wow.
Some of that's, county drain down through there too.
So you guys didn't do no brush cleanup or dead tree?
Well, we had a storm too out there.
Oh, that thinks you guys did that.
So, yeah.
I live right there, we had those amazing storms, after one.
Yeah, what we did was the canopy and, we did the drainage work that we needed to do before we put the soil down.
Might wanna redo that
Again.
drainage work.
What's that?
Might wanna redo that drainage work,
But again, the one drain through there is county drain.
at least get it blown off the road,
You know what?
get the water going off the road at least.
Okay.
Okay.
Water does go off the road there, so.
Not on Judd, not between my house and my neighbor.
Keith, I'll get hold of the
Yeah,
drain commission.
We can give it the
I
after the
will.
meeting, get your address, and
Yeah.
take a look at that if that's.
Okay. All right, well, if there's nothing else, can't thank you enough for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
When might you
Thank
be doing
both.
the ditches on the King?
What's that?
When might you be doing the ditches on McKean again?
I don't know, we'd have to, we'll see what's left with the township-wide drainage.
They haven't been done in 25, 30 years.
The ditches?
Yep.
What part of McKean?
Between Judd and Holiday. Matter of fact, they never had been totally done.
Weren't you
Back when
down
Carl
there?
Yeah, we
Gearbach
did
was
some, we
in.
did some drainage work down there around the private drive down
That
there.
was way
And
back
everything-
when Carl Gearbach is when the ditches,
We did do some drainage work out there.
a little bit, not much.
Yeah.
We'll reevaluate it after we get this other done. Well, thank you very, very much.
Yep.
Adam, thank you very much. You know, yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you guys, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I really appreciate it. The partnership and what we've done in Augusta over the last 6-8 years here. It's great. So I just want to thank everybody. And also a little note, if you guys can come to agreement today and actually sign the document. You just scan that to Trevor. I'm doing the board packet this week so I could get your agreement into our board packet for next week. And then be signed and official. We have job numbers and that open up for the crew to start finding time for the schedule. So
Okay.
we could hit that pre-April date probably.
Yep. All right, thank you very, very much. Yep.
That was great. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Good job, Trevor.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Kim, we need to make a motion to
Yep.
accept this, so go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to accept the road commission's 2024 agreement not to exceed the amount of $340,984.63.
Second. Susan,
Yes.
David, Debbie,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Shelby, yes, Kim.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
I also have another one. So I
Okay.
would make a motion to amend the 2024-25 budget, increasing the roads, street and roads by $160,000 and decreasing the drains at large by that amount.
Second. Susan,
Yes.
David,
Yeah.
Debbie,
Yeah.
Linda,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Shelby, yes, Kim.
Did I say 166,000? Is that what I said?
I said 160.
Oh, 166,000, I'm sorry.
All right, Kim,
Yes.
okay, that's it. Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see
Okay.
you. Thanks.
Moving on, Vic, you're next.
I'm next.
Yep, you're next.
Well, I'm here just to kind of, if the board wants to know, I mean, what I'm doing, okay, what litigation I'm in. I mean, I'm involved in several cases for the township right now that I can kind of give an update on if that's what the board wants. One particular case that I'm involved in, I'm going to need the board to take some action tonight. That's the Lincoln Schools matter. The court has ordered parties to a settlement conference, and
Can't hear you.
in order to go to.
Keith, go outside with him, will you? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
In order to do a settlement conference, I'm gonna need a couple of members of the board and Michael Leasich to be a part of that settlement conference. And so I need a motion from the board to approve a couple of members to join me in the settlement conference. We don't have a date for that yet. The court hasn't set a date. It's gonna try to coordinate with the calendars of me, you, my client, and then Lincoln Schools attorney and their client. So that's the Lincoln Schools matter. I can tell you that there are other cases here that just to bring you up to date. I'll just start down my list here. I've got Mitchell Storage. That is still in the process of trying to get some remedies for what might have happened out there back in 1995 when there was construction of that addition to the Mitchell Storage without permits. At least that's what our claim is anyway. The engineers are involved in this now. Just today, as a matter of fact, I received some paperwork from Mitchell's engineer that was trying to describe in engineering terms things that I'm not going to be able to explain to the board, but in engineering terms, what the lay of the land is out there for the township's engineer to review, and then, together, hopefully we'll be able to figure something out that's gonna fix whatever problems might have been created by what they did back out there without permit. So that's an ongoing discussion. We talked about that previously, and that's the status of it right now. It's a slow process, but we are moving hopefully in the right direction, okay? We got KB Landscape, okay? That's the property that's out there on Whitaker at 11757 Whitaker. Recall that was a case that they went out there and they started a business without any permits from the township. We allowed them to go ahead and file for an application for a permit, which was denied by the planning commission. They appealed that decision. Then, while that was going on, because the planning commission had denied, we took our own action. The township took its own action to, look, you don't have a permit there. The township denied it. You have no business operating your business there, and so that was the basis of the township's lawsuit for the zoning violations. We won that case in circuit court, and we won the appeal that they filed against the township for not granting their request for a permit. We won that case also. Right now, it's at the status, it's in the Court of Appeals. Pretty much the work is done. We've, both parties have filed their briefs. We're just waiting for the Court of Appeals to set a date for oral arguments, at which time we will, presumably they will, and I'll go in and we'll argue our case in front of the Court of Appeals, and then the Court of Appeals will make a decision, God knows when, okay? 2-3 months after that, 4 months after that, depends, okay? It doesn't seem like it's that difficult of a case from my perspective, okay, in my opinion, but doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna happen overnight. So, then we have Brothers Auto Storage on Willis Road. If you will recall, they had a fire out there back in August, and they were, that property, the use out there was subject to what's called a non-conforming use. When the building burned down, the non-conforming use was extinguished. In other words, they don't have the right to continue their use out there. I have sent them a couple of letters. They've been ignored. Looks like they're trying to continue to do some work out there. I did instruct the ordinance officer to issue some citations for the violations that are out there right now, which primarily are blight, because they've got all this, the vehicles out there that without the use, that's not permitted storage. So, those tickets haven't come to light yet, okay? I know that Roy has filed them. This one might escalate because my plan is right now is just to get him into court, have a conversation with him. They've ignored my letters, see if I can get some type of a resolution. If I can't get a resolution, then we might want to kick it up to the circuit court, at which time I would ask for an injunction, basically, a preliminary injunction. We might still be able to get that in the district court. I'm going to gauge that. When I'm before the court. I'll just estimate how I think it's going to go, and make a decision from there. So then we have the Todd Waller. That's the place out on Bunton Road that was excavating and removing materials from the property. That, in my opinion, required a permit. I had the conversation with the supervisor. We decided to go ahead and file a suit. I did file a suit. I got a temporary restraining order to stop them from continuing their work on the property. The status of that is right now we have a hearing, I think it's on May 8th, for a preliminary injunction. I'm working with the attorney to try to see if we can agree on some facts, okay, so we don't have to spend a whole lot of time and resources for the parties to put on a bunch of testimony. if I'm successful in doing that with the attorney, then it just might be legal arguments, and then the court will make a decision. Am I right, or are they right? And they think that they're right. They don't think they need any permits from the township. Understand, okay, I've had this conversation with Brian and others. It's not the excavation of the pond that's the problem. It is the movement of materials away from that property that becomes the problem and subjects it to the requirements of the zoning ordinance. And so that's an ongoing thing right now. We'll just have to wait and see where it lands. Like I say, I'm trying to work with the attorney to get some facts, and once we do that, if we can just go in and make legal arguments, the judge will make a decision, and we'll know what we can or should do under the circumstances, and we might have to discuss the possibility of an appeal or not an appeal. That's a conversation that we can have when it gets the time comes up. Okay. We have let me see here. We have the solar projects, of course, and that's not the subject of any litigation at this time, although I am probably going to be involved in the planning commission meetings with respect to the granting of the final, they're in the final site plan approval process right now. So, that was the subject of a lawsuit that resulted in a judgment that's basically going to allow that project to be done, assuming it's in accordance with all the requirements of the consent judgment. And of course, consent judgment really sets forth a lot of the requirements and frankly expands upon the requirements of the zoning ordinance. And so that's the way that it was drafted, that's the way that it was negotiated and finally approved. Okay, not just by this board, but also by the court. So there are several other smaller cases that I'm starting to get involved in a little bit. There's the Henry Altenberg case, which is coming up for hearing next Tuesday. That's a simple blight case, but they seem to think that they have an argument for some type of a defense. I'm going to find out more details about that on Tuesday probably and decide, how best to litigate it or not litigate it, as the case may be. Then we have there's George's. I guess it's a body shop. I'm not exactly certain what it is for certain, but when Ralph was around here, we had we got into some discussions with George's, and we had an agreement. Okay, we weren't going to go after them for zoning violations or other violations, assuming they put up a fence and kept the parking behind the fences, basically. Well, recently they have not done that again. They did build the fence, and we were satisfied with that. And then, but now they're parking a bunch of vehicles out in front of the fence again. So that's problematic. We've got that coming up for a hearing on Tuesday too. And my hope is that I'm going to talk to them and convince them that that's improper under the ordinances. They need to cease and desist it, and hopefully I'll get some compliance. Maybe not. My preference in all of these cases when I'm working with them, my MO is to do the best that I can to get compliance without litigation. It doesn't work all the time, obviously, but we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out next Tuesday. I'll have more information on that after I have a conversation with these guys in court. So then the only other one that I think I have on the list here is, and it's not really the subject of any litigation at this point. It's probably not even worth bringing up, but it's that Saline dog park case that's over on Willis Road also. And that, that was a case that, required zoning, required permits from the township. Ultimately, we settled that case. The settlement required they do a final site plan and comply with the road commission requirements and comply with the Washtenaw County Water Resources Commission. They're still in the process of trying to get that compliance. We had a final site plan that was submitted, I don't know, about a month ago or so, maybe 6 weeks ago. I had the engineer take a look at it, because that's not my, that's not my, it's not something I mean, I do, but I'm not the best person to be figuring out everything that's required and whether it's right or not. So I had the engineer take a look at it, and he brought up a couple of concerns which were taken back to them. Now it's in the status of the Washtenaw County Water Resources Commission, based upon some changes that we needed for compliance with the order that's in place right now. That they needed to get reapproval from the Washtenaw County Water Resources Commission. So they reapplied, at least I think they reapplied to the Washtenaw County Water Resources Commission to get that approval at this point. We just don't have it back. So those are the major cases that I've been involved in. You know, it always happens that I get calls about various things that are going on, and I learn about new cases here and there. But whether or not I actually get involved in them depends on the success of Roy sometimes, and whether or not he can get them resolved. And I'm working with Roy, trying to make sure that he understands this. And he's fairly new. He doesn't have a lot of experience with this stuff. So it's I kind of want to make sure that he's kind of following the process that I think is best to get things done. Okay? It's not always about a hammer. Okay. It's more often, quite frankly, about getting a little cooperation if you can. A lot of people, when you sit down and talk to them, and you make sure they understand what's right and what's wrong, what the law is, a lot of times they recognize it and they want to comply, but you always have these other people that are not going to do it, and that's why you end up with this type of litigation, or you end up with legal differences. Okay, I'll just take this Todd Walter case. Okay, they think that they're righteous, okay, because they don't think that they need any permits, because there's some statutes out there, and they're making great claims about the Right to Farm Act, that that they can dig a pond, they're doing it for irrigation purposes, and so now that's what they're saying they're doing it for. It's for irrigation, and there's no farm out there right now. But be that as it may, my opinion is that I don't care if the Right to Farm Act applies, or there's a statute out there that says that they can build ponds if it's under 5 acres. It's not the building, as I said from the beginning, it's not the building of the pond that's the problem. It's the movement of the materials away from the property that makes it an excavation operation that is subject to the requirements of the zoning ordinance. So they disagree with that. I say that that's